What's up guys, it's your boy the Mad Tui here, and I'm here in the Caves and Cliffs update, and today we are going to be looking at what we can do with a lot of these new blocks. I've done 3 builds for us today that we can take a look at of all the cool new things you can do with these new blocks. I've laid them all out here so we can have a look at them with this ray tracing pack on. It's just a vanilla RTX pack, so it's all the original textures just with a bit more depth and ray tracing. So we've got the tinted glass here, we've got all the deep slate and the smooth basalt, we've got all the slabs and then the walls that are related, we've got all the different types of copper, and I'm especially keen on using the shiny copper. I mean, look at this, doesn't it look great with ray tracing? And then we've got all the new raw ore blocks. We've got the lightning rod, glow sack, the spyglass, which I don't think I actually use in this video. We've got the axolotl and all the other new mobs like the goat. The goat is so cool. And then all the new ore textures. We've got dripstone and the dripstone stalagmites and stalactites, the moss blocks and moss carpet. We've got the rooted dirt, and then all the new plants, the amethyst and the calcite and tuff. So we've got loads of new blocks to work with, a lot of dark blocks, a lot of greens and all sorts of cool stuff. So let's get over to the first build. So here I've used a lot of the plants and the moss blocks in here, and this is my take on a magical forest. Hear that as we come through. Isn't that awesome? So I had this idea that you could have this giant magical forest where it's all sort of roofed over, so everything's kind of dark inside, but you use the glow berries and the glow lichen to light it all up. And if you have a look under here, we've filled it all with amethyst, which means the pathway through the forest rings, so it's sort of like a magical forest. I thought that was really cool. You've got earthy overhangs here where you can use the rooted dirt, and where rock overhangs you can have stalactites. We've got the crystals up there, the new amethyst crystals, and I put one here as well that you can use as sort of like, I don't know, like a wizard staff or like a magical marker within your forest. And we use the new azalea bushes because I think flowers just scream magic. So yeah, this is our first build here. Loads of really cool, unique things that we can do with the blocks. We've also used tuff here, and I think tuff works really well with mossy cobblestone. It's a really good colour combination. Sweet. Let's have a look at this at night. And there we go. It's now night time, and the magical forest just comes to light even more. We've even used shroom lights up in the trees to just make the trees glow, and it just really sort of brings it to life. Obviously this is only a sort of really tiny section, but imagine a whole build or a valley, or you could even do it in a ravine. This would look really, really cool. So let's have a look. Oh yeah, I've got my glowing ores on. Don't these ores look great? On to our next build. We'll start this build at night. So this is inspired by a lot of buildings that I saw when I was on holiday in Wales recently, and all these buildings are made of slate, so really dark builds, and really in sort of the industrial areas of Wales where they used to sort of mine for slate and coal and all sorts of stuff like that. But doesn't it look so cool at night? Now with ray tracing, and it even works without ray tracing, but the new glow frames work really well as headlights. So let's fly up here. So this is supposed to be sort of one of those old Victorian style bridges that maybe you have like a train above it. And we've used the dripstone below because all these old bridges sort of eventually sort of do grow stalactites and stalagmites. So we've got a couple more down here on the floor, and then we've used the lightning rods as sort of like a sort of rail system, and then we've got some grindstones to be the sort of rollers that are going along it. And yeah, look, doesn't it look like headlights? So this is sort of a little bit of an industrial steampunk inspired build. Now, with all this new copper, so we've used a bit of copper for the roof, and it's the weathered copper. But the warped woods work really well with it and look like copper railings. So I've added a load of these in. We can use the new glowing item frames to sort of show as a shop sign. They work really well. And I even like the addition of just some of these glow lichen on the sort of dark walls, because it just makes it feel a bit more magical. Now, this is a really cool road design I've done using the new blocks. Here we've got a block of raw iron, and I think they really look like sort of rusty brown colour of sort of cobblestone. And then we've used dripstone and the new rooted dirt sparsed in between, and it's a really nice contrast between these big dark walls. We've also got some of the new glowberries hanging down, but we haven't put the glowberries on. And this kind of adds sort of more vines that we can add to our builds, because obviously this is sort of the old style stuff that we used to do, where you'd put the leaf blocks everywhere, but adding these, you can get a lot more texture to your builds. I'm going to switch it to daytime, and then we can have a look at all of this properly. So now it's daytime, we can properly have a look at these builds. So underneath the bridge, we've got rooted dirt hanging. We've got bats that keep spawning up here. We've got all the stalactites and stalagmites and all forming underneath the bridge. And then I figured we could use these copper blocks along with these acacia trapdoors to make a sort of steampunk cart that sort of flies above the street in the city. And it's definitely something that I think I might bring to my build in my base in the Breaking Minecraft server. So we've got a little thing here. We've got a clock there and a lantern, and you can sort of stand here and look out at the direction you are going, and I think it's really cool, and I just love the sounds walking around in it. But it's definitely a very steampunk feel to it. We've made this lamppost design where we've got some of the new deep slate tile walls. We've used the warp fence, a hopper, some warp trapdoors, and underneath inside we've got a shroom light, and then just a deep slate slab capping it off. And I think that's a really cool, unique lamppost design that I think we will be using all around our base. We've also got here the new goats that you can have them in sort of a market, but with these new goats, what you've got to do is put a roof over them, because occasionally they will decide that they want to jump, and if you don't have a roof, they can get out of any fences you put them around. Now, we've obviously used these raw iron for the pathways, but the other raw ore blocks you can use for sort of like boxes of mixed fruit or something like that. So you put trapdoors all the way around, and this looks like it could be a box of lemons or oranges, and this over here could be a box of apples or something, and it looks really cool. We've also as well, we've got our axolotls in there, and there's a little lid on top. So you can come, you pick your axolotl and head along your way. We've also got a cauldron collecting the drips from up there. So yeah, this is a really cool industrial steampunky build. And finally, we've used, where the stalactites are forming, some deep slate iron ore. So some of the deep slate stuff you can use to sort of add a bit more detail to your builds. Like here we've got the deep slate coal ore as well, and it just looks really cool. Now, on to our next build. So our next build is something a little bit different. It's not a style that I've built on my channel before, but I've definitely built this style on my own Minecraft worlds before I started YouTube. Now, this is one of those big buildings that you'd see maybe in London, the Georgian sort of huge, really vast buildings. Then a lot of these are turned into banks or hotels, and I think it's a really cool build. We've used these little azalea bushes outside because I think they look like some of those like trimmed, really fancy sort of bushes, topiary, and we've used the copper as a sort of awning for the front of the building, and we've got loads of the copper all over it. Again, we've mixed it in with the warped wood. Now, this is really cool in here. I'm going to stop here and we'll look around before we move forwards. We've got an aquarium back there with a load of axolotls in. Now, in this building. This is as you can see there, the Glow Hotel. So I figured that these lightning rods, if you put them like this, they look like those poles that you have the sort of red rope in between. And I used this mossy carpet because I think it just looks like a thick, welcoming carpet in your hotel. We've got the copper blocks there as sort of a desk. You can also, with these new lightning rods, put a lamp on top and it makes a really cool like little lamp. Up here, the copper rods work really well with the end rods to create some really cool lighting that looks like really modern lighting. And over here we've added in a moss block with some glow lichen and some glowberries below to be a really cool organic lighting feature. Now this is my favourite bit about this build. As I step forward, you've got the bell that dings when you enter the shop. So for this, you simply put an amethyst underneath your mossy carpet and you've got a ding. But what I've also added is some redstone blocks under there, and it drops off our glow squid. It's feeding time. I think these sort of little dripstone stalagmites and stalactites, they kind of look like little statues or little just ornaments, so they're really cool to sort of dot around your builds. Yeah, this is a really fresh sort of modern build, really cool feel, and I think I'll definitely be building something like this on the server sometime soon. So there we have it. We have 3 very, very different and unique builds that make use of all these new blocks. Loads of different ways of using them, loads of different styles, and I think we're definitely going to do some more of these sometime soon. So let me know what you think of all these builds and which ones you are going to use and which ones you aren't in your worlds. And if you liked this video, please do smash that like button down below, and please subscribe to the channel because it really helps us out, and it's free. You'll just be really helping us out, and we'll be able to do more cool videos such as this, showcasing all the new stuff that you can do in the Caves and Cliffs update. I'll catch you guys next time.